A walrus named Odokawa wakes up from a nightmare in his taxi as he gets back to his shift listening to the radio while searching for customers. His next fare is a hippo named Kawasawa, who takes a selfie with him to go viral on social media. A pair of cops, the twin Diamond brothers, pull Okudawa over and ask if he knows the whereabouts of a criminal named Dobu. Okudawa denies it. After his shift, Okudawa talks to someone in his home through a closed door, though they don't respond. The next day, Odokawa pays a visit to his doctor, Garuki. The elder Diamond sees Odokawa leaving the clinic and takes the SD card from his dash camera, threatening him not to tell anyone else. Later that day, Kakihana lies about his income on a dating app, hoping to find a woman. Goriki gets a call from a nurse informing him that someone has been stealing drugs from the hospital, with his own nurse, Shitakawa, suspected. Meanwhile, Shitakawa gets into Odokawa's taxi, and Dobu gets an SD card handed to him by the elder Daimon. Odokawa and Shitakawa talk about their respective pasts with each other, and end up exchanging phone numbers at the end of the taxi ride. Kakihana gets a match on his dating profile with a young woman named Shiho, who happens to be a backup singer with the new idol group called Mystery Kiss. After their latest concert, the lead singer Rui notices their group seems to be having more trouble gaining more attention, and confides in her superfan, Imai, about it. Despite Imai's suggestions, Rui is shackled by the demands of her management. Imai ends up taking a ride in Odokawa's cab, and manages to scam him into a ride despite barely having money after buying lottery tickets and merch for Mystery Kiss. Odokawa's next fare is a pair of comedians, Baba and Shibagaki, who end up fighting in the backseat over their partnership, though Odokawa finds it amusing. Baba suddenly gets a call to appear on a daytime show without Shibagaki. After dropping them off, Dobu enters the cab, holding Odokawa at gunpoint from the back seat. At the Sonic, Hikana accidentally overhears a phone call between Yakuza Lieutenant Kuradora and Dobu about the missing girl case. Later, Dobu tries to blackmail Odokawa into giving up information on the girl and who might have kidnapped her, but Odokawa refuses to play along. Odokawa tries to get the police's attention but only gets the elder Daimon, who dismisses them both. Finally, Odokawa decides to work with Dobu when he threatens to harm Shitakawa. When Dobu leaves, Odokawa realizes he's very late for his date, almost hitting a pedestrian as he speeds towards the nearby park. Odokawa and Shitakawa meet at a park and watch the sun rise while talking to each other. Later that day, Odokawa notices that Goriki didn't show up at his clinic, and Kikana meets with Shio for a date, unaware that they're actually being tailed by two other individuals. A puma named Tanaka who works at a game development company goes over his life story. He spent 100,000 yen from his father's credit card in an online auction for a unique Donraku eraser that never arrived to feel special in his class. Tanaka's peers moved on from collecting erasers, and his dad beat him after discovering the charge on his credit statement. After growing up and joining the game dev company, Tanaka got addicted to a mobile online game called Zuden, spending large sums of real money to try to get the incredibly rare dodo bird in the game. One evening, Tanaka finally acquires his long-sought dodo, until a cab driven by Odokawa nearly hits him while he celebrates. As the cab swerves out of the way, Tanaka accidentally drops his phone in a nearby ditch, and after getting it repaired, discovers the game didn't register his dodo before it died. Tanaka falls into despair, wandering home, then heading to a nearby park to bury his now dead cockatiel. However, while dragging up some dirt to bury the bird, Tanaka discovers the gun that Dobu buried earlier. Later, after seeing Odokawa pass by in his taxi, Tanaka snaps and decides to use the gun to get revenge on him. Yamamoto uses Odokawa's taxi to pick up various members of Mystery Kiss for practice. As Odokawa drops Yamamoto off at his office, he lets slip that he dropped off another girl near the office 2 weeks ago. Yamamoto offers to buy Odokawa's dashcam data off him, but he refuses to sell it at that time. Meanwhile, Odokawa is unaware that Tanaka is tailing him in another cab to find out where he lives. Later that night, Garuki shares some tea with Odokawa and announces he's planning to close his clinic for a while, as he's afraid of being blamed for the hospital's missing drugs, even if Shitakawa is the culprit. Next, Odokawa is called by Dobu. During the ride, Dobu confirms that Shitakawa was stealing drugs and selling to him to pay off her loans, but her meeting with Odokawa was entirely separate from that. In return, Odokawa tells Dobu about Yamamoto. Meanwhile, Kakihana goes on a date with Shiho at a fancy restaurant. Shiho looks through her phone and shows Kakihana a picture of Imai, supposedly winning the lottery, and Kabasawa making a viral video swearing to hunt down Dobu after he appeared in his last selfie. Kakihana pays for the meal in cash, as a dropped receipt shows he took out a loan to keep up his facade of being rich for Shiho. Imai shares with Odokawa that using his lucky numbers from his last cab ride got him a winning lottery ticket, so he decides to treat him to a free VIP session at the cabaret club where he works part-time. However, Odokawa feels out of place at the club and is forced to flee when a masked gunman shows up. Shibagaki, who also works at the club part-time, manages to distract the gunman and almost gets himself shot for the trouble. Elsewhere, Kakihana takes out another loan. Later that night, Shirakawa finally tells Odokawa the truth, that she was in debt to Dobu for 4 years, and still owes him 3 million yen due to an extortionate interest. She initially approached Odokawa as Dobu hoped to use him as a getaway driver in a future bank heist, but Shirakawa claims she soon developed genuine feelings for him instead. Odokawa leaves her, not wanting to get involved any further. However, the next day, Dobu meets Odokawa in his taxi again, complaining that Odokawa's viral videos are making life difficult for him. Dobu offers to find the shooter and restore Goriki's clinic if Odokawa will not help him find Kabasawa. Odokawa adds a condition that Dobu cancel the rest of Shirakawa's debt, and Dobu agrees. Meanwhile, Baba has a packed schedule full of TV shoots, and is in a secret relationship with Rui, while Shibagaki has trouble setting up a practice time for their comedy routine. After being unable to find Kabasawa, Odokawa returns home to find someone shot a bullet through his window. Odokawa gets the attention of the younger Diamond brother with the shell casing, and tries to get his help to arrest Dobu. The younger Diamond agrees, but still suspects Odokawa of hiding the Narima missing girl in his house, despite Odokawa's flat denial. Diamond gets called away to deal with a dead body before he can search Odokawa's room. Meanwhile, Kakihana spends the evening hiding out from the loan shark's henchmen, when Shirakawa confesses to Goriki about her work with Dobu, and Goriki asks for her help to save Odokawa. During Shibuya's Halloween festival, Odokawa accidentally runs into Yano before meeting with Dobu in hopes of flushing out the skull-masked gunman, and Kabasawa. Odokawa and Dobu follow a skull-masked man but discover it's the wrong person, as Kabasawa tapes the scene from his phone, and then flees before they can catch him. Across the town, Yano begins his work torturing Kakihana. After torturing Kakihana, Yano realizes that he doesn't have any real money. Meanwhile, Odokawa and Dobu plan their next move when he receives a call from Yamamoto to take Shiho and himself to a warehouse at the harbor. Dobu gets Odokawa to make a 1 billion yen offer to Yamamoto to judge his reaction, which he does after picking up Yamamoto and Shiho, then drops them off at the harbor. Shiho demands to be let out of the badger game of seducing rich men for money, and tells Kakihana their relationship was fake, though Kakihana refuses to believe her. Meanwhile, Goriki invites Odokawa out for a drink, and tries to find out the source behind his apparent synesthesia. They try to invite Kakihana, but he's tied up with Yano, Sekiguchi, and Yamamoto watching over him. After Yano hears about the 1 billion yen offer, he suspects that Dobu is involved somehow, and plans to make use of Kakihana. Later, Odokawa secretly tapes Dobu admitting the plans to rob the winning lottery ticket holder when he goes to withdraw his winnings from the bank, and that the older Diamond brother is in his pocket. He sends the evidence to the younger Diamond, then tries to convince Imai to retract his social media post about the lottery ticket to pretend he didn't win to save him from being mugged. While chatting with Imai, Odokawa realizes what really happened with Kakihana. Odokawa tries to get the younger Diamond's help, but Diamond is reluctant to arrest his older brother to pursue Dobu outside of his jurisdiction. Later, Odokawa tries to get Dobu's help to rescue Kakihana, while sending a message to Kabasawa to meet Dobu at the same location, as Kabasawa starts to have regrets about his sudden online fame. While Odokawa is driving Dobu, the masked gunman tries to kill Odokawa again while driving a white van. Odokawa manages to lose him and heads towards the harbor. As Dobu gets in a fight with Sekiguchi, Odokawa rescues Kakihana. Dobu is shot in the leg by an unseen assailant just as Kabasawa shows up to take credit. But Dobu quickly subdues Kabasawa and forces him to give up his social media accounts and money as a paycheck for stirring an online crusade against him. Later, Goriki pays a visit to Odokawa's home and instead finds his landlady, who mentions that Odokawa has been supported through childhood through a mysterious foundation who paid for his rent and basic necessities after a tragic accident. However, Odokawa insisted on making money to pay rent himself when he got older, and asked the landlady to return the extra money. She then reveals to Gariki that both of Odokawa's parents are dead. Satoshi demands Shibagaki team up with him after Homo sapiens lose the comedy competition, but Shibagaki refuses. Imai posts a fake lottery ticket on his social media to throw off the yakuza, but Yano quickly sees through the ruse and continues his plan to rob him. Sekiguchi uses context of Imai's older posts and online logistics to pinpoint his current home. Meanwhile, Yamamoto tries to bargain with Odokawa again for his dashcam data. Odokawa tries to loop Yamamoto in his own scheme to take down Yano and Dobu, but Yamamoto tries to strangle him to death, until Shirakawa appears and rescues Odokawa at the last minute. With Yamamoto tied up, Odokawa finally gets him to take down Yano in exchange for saving Mystery Kiss from being involved in the controversy. Later, Dobu goes over the final points of his heist plan with Odokawa. After he leaves, Odokawa goes over his own twists of the plan with Yamamoto, Imai, and the younger Diamond individually. Then Odokawa goes to the sauna where he meets Kuroda, who believes he is probably not the kidnapper of the missing Narima girl and questions his motivation for acting as he does. Meanwhile, Gariki continues investigating Odokawa's past. When the news reports that the dead body from a couple of months ago was identified as Mystery Kiss member Yuki Mitsuya, Odokawa mutters it's not her. Rui reflects on her recent past, how her good looks got her through an audition to star in Mystery Kiss, and how she kept feeling inferior despite being appointed the leader by Yamamoto, due to Yuki being better than her in various other areas. One day, after demoing for another producer, the man decided to make Yuki the leader. Rui called Yuki to meet with her in Yamamoto's office to convince her to relinquish the lead spot, or kill her if she refused, but she arrived to find Yuki already dead. Rui and Yamamoto worked with Yano to dump Yuki's body in the harbor and replace her with another girl who looked similar, but Yuki's body was found in the present. The repercussions echo across the area as Mystery Kiss is forced to hold a press conference apologizing for the real Yuki's death. Dobu fears that his heist plan might be undone, and Imai becomes depressed that Mystery Kiss Christmas special might not happen. Meanwhile, Baba abruptly decides to end his partnership with Shibagaki on the day of their losers bracket performance. On the press conference about Yuki's death, Yamamoto admits to replacing Yuki with Sakura when she went missing, and reveals that Yuki's father is famous comedian Don Raku. As Yano and Sankeguchi drive to the bank with Imai, Dobu watches them from a nearby van, and the elder Daimon pays a visit to Odokawa. Elsewhere, Gariki continues digging into Odokawa's past, learning that his parents died when their van crashed into the river as a double suicide, and Odokawa swam to safety on his own. Dobu's odd taxi plan goes into action as Yano's van is packed full of suitcases with fake money, as Dobu gets the remaining 9 cases of real money from the bank. Meanwhile, Homo sapiens comes out on stage to do a routine, but Shibagaki breaks down halfway through and starts yelling at Baba. The older Daimon pulls over Yano and Sakeguchi while letting Imai go, only for Yano to discover that most of the crates were fake and the older Daimon is working with Dobu. As Dobu takes the last crate full of real money from Yano and speeds off to meet with Odokawa and collect the rest. Odokawa drives into the parking lot where he spots Tanaka holding Dobu's gun, but Dobu was unfazed, claiming that Tanaka already used up his bullets. Having been burnt out from his quest for revenge, Tanaka demands an apology from Odokawa when a unique eraser falls from Odokawa's pocket. Tanaka recognizes it as the same eraser he bet on as a kid, and finds out that Dobu is the same Ditch 11 that scammed him out of 100,000 yen and tops the Zuden leaderboards. Tanaka then shoots Dobu before running off in a panic. Odokawa leaves Dobu behind and prepares to leave the money for Imai. When Yano and Sakeguchi try to run him down in the cop car they hijacked from the older Daimon. Meanwhile, the younger Daimon finds his brother beaten on the side of the road, as he swears to arrest everyone involved. The highway chase ends with Odokawa's taxi running off the bridge and plummeting into the river. Somehow all the major characters end up at the shore to witness it. Gariki picks up Shirakawa on the way to the harbor and tells her the truth. Odokawa has been suffering from a mental condition called visual agnosia, caused by excessive dysfunction. In flashbacks, it is revealed that the inhabitants of this world are not talking animals, but humans. Odokawa, a shy introvert child, abused by his alcoholic, neglectful parents, always felt closer to animals than humans. After the murder-suicide when his mother attempted to drown all of them in the car, he developed this condition to see everyone as various animals. Shirakawa dives in after Odokawa and saves him. After he wakes up, he sees everyone as humans again and slowly gets used to reality. Meanwhile, Rui is arrested on suspicion of murdering Yuki, with Yano, Yamamoto, and Sakiguchi arrested as accomplices in hiding the body. It is revealed the younger daimon was the one who shot Dobu in the leg in episode 9, which is why Dobu assumed Tanaka had used up all his bullets. Imai shows up in the hospital giving the 100 million yen saved from the river to Odokawa. Odokawa visits Kuroda in the sauna, realizing he has been the one supporting the orphan children, and gives him the money. Odokawa goes home and we learn the mysterious person living in his cupboard was a real cat. While he suffered from visual agnosia, he couldn't tell the difference between a cat and a person. During the end credits, we see what happened to most of the other characters. Baba and Shibagaki renew their partnership, Kakiyana finds a job and works off his loans, Kabasawa stops relying on social media fame and tries to find work, Dobu and the Elder Daimon go to jail, and Tanaka deletes Zuden from his phone and resumes his job. In the closing montage, it is revealed that it was Sakura, the fourth in line in the Mystery Kiss auditions, who killed Yuki, so that Yamamoto would hire her. The episode ends with Sakura entering Odokawa's taxi after she had been looking for him in order to tie up loose ends. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.